Okay. Good morning, everyone. This is Jason Poole, Interim Assistant Director for the Customer Experience with Planning and Development for the City of Dallas. I'd like to welcome everyone to our third stakeholder meeting for the Digital Billboard Authorized Hearing. Here with me from staff today, I want to introduce Oscar Aguilera. He is our Senior Planner. He'll be presenting this morning. Scott Roper, he's our sign supervisor for plan review and inspections. We've also got Mike Martin, our senior inspector for the sign team. And I believe that is it. I would like to let everybody know we'd kind of like for this particular meeting to be a little bit of an open session. We're going to go through a presentation and kind of show you where we're at and what we've come up with as far as the draft ordinance goes and any next steps. We'd like for you to ask questions. There should be an option next to your share button that allows you to raise your hand. If you would, please raise your hand if you've got comments or need anything. And we'll call on you. Please be sure to introduce yourself and we'll move forward. With that, I'll turn it over to Oscar.
Thank you so very much, everyone. Can everybody see the screen for the presentation?
Yes.
Hey, Oscar, be sure that's the updated presentation.
Yes, well, I updated it on recently, so this should be correct.
I think Scott's got the most latest version he emailed.
Oh, okay, bear with me. Okay, this is the. Can everybody see the presentation?
I think we can see it. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So my name is Oscar Aguilera. I'm a senior planner. I've been working with the experts for science, which is Mr. Robert, as well as Jason, Mike, as well. And we're here to provide you with the updates that City Council is requesting. So as you're aware, the City Council authorized a hearing to amend the relocation of certain detached non-premise signs provisions in section 51A 7.307, as well as the digital detached non-premise sign provisions in section 51A 7.308, and the non-conformance of enforcement procedures in division 51A 7.700 of Dallas City Code. So having this guideline, we had a couple of staff meetings to get the stakeholders input to try to make sure that we are following current events and that we implement a policy that will work for everybody regarding the non-premise signs. So on August 23, 2023, again, the City Council voted to initiate this. In June 11, there was a previous history that the City Council authorized to switch static billboards for digital face changes with a maximum of 50 digital non-premise expressway structures. So knowing this, we were working on trying to expand on that, as well as the the other sections that we previously um, talked about. So this is the proposal. So the proposed amendments to Dallas Development Code Chapter 51A7 regulations about non-premise signs, which is billboards. Then we're trying to provide flexibility on the relocation of certain legal non-conforming detached non-premise signs subject to restrictions. We're trying to allow certain legal non-conforming detached non-premise to be modified to use digital displays technology subject to restrictions. Modify the City of Dallas signage code to align with the Federal Highway Administration and the Texas Department of Transportation codes regarding digital non-premise signs. We're trying to prevent the proliferation of illegal constructed billboards throughout the city, promote traffic safety, and reduce the number of non-conforming non-premise signs billboards with the City of Dallas. And then we're concentrating or trying to concentrate all the non-premise signs towards fronting the expressways. Here is the analysis that we conducted. So staff compared several cities within our nation to evaluate non-premise signs and best practices to help staff address the current issues with the City of Dallas outdated non-premise signage code. The cities evaluated and compared were the City of Austin, Fort Worth, Texas, Chicago, Atlanta, Miami, and Inglewood, California. Staff's evaluation revealed that the City of Austin, Fort Worth, and Miami codes prohibit non-premise signs, billboards. All these cities have non-conforming rules and regulations to allow for the relocation of billboard signs, but most cities do not allow conversions to digital billboards. Conversely, Atlanta, Chicago, and Inglewood allow billboards, including digital, with the street code regulations. Please note that the City of Chicago even owns digital billboards and profits from the rental of these digital boards. This is the draft proposed conditions that staff work. What is highlighted in red is most important, or staff feels is more important. I will kind of focus on what is most important. You can see that some of the signs or some of the code was is proposed to be eliminated. So in general, certain legal non-conforming detached non-premise signs may be relocated subject to restrictions in this section. So the owner of the signs must submit a sign relocation permit application after building official approved the sign relocation permit. The owner must apply for a demolition permit to remove signs in accordance with subsection. The owner must complete demolition of sign structure according to the application ration in subsection D before the sign structure is relocated. I think that this is a good option. So in order to be, bear with me.
So kind of the idea behind that was to allow a relocation whenever you like to relocate. Previously, we only allowed relocations when a government entity came and claimed part or all of the property the sign was located on. And with this this current iteration, the ordinance, we're proposing a little more flexibility in that to open this up to allow signs to be relocated whenever. The idea to allow that would be to go back to a sign face exchange ratio. And we're looking at a 3-to-1 exchange. Now, I think initially we had been looking at a fee in lieu, and this is included for the digital. We have ran into a few issues with legal on the fee in lieu, and essentially we need options on where this fee would go and how it would contribute to the program to manage these signs. So we are currently exploring these options. At this point, this is the most recent iteration of this ordinance. And as we move forward, we'll have some options towards the end for you to consider. But at this point, this is the most current option. We're looking at strictly a exchange on digital upgrades as well as the relocations. And Oscar, go ahead and continue.
Okay, thank you, Jason. So as Jason was stating, so the proposal for relocation for the ratio is for every one sign structure to be relocated, 3 detached non-permanent sign structures must be removed from within the city. So no credit is given for the relocated sign structure. Removal of sign structure must be completed before sign relocation may commence. And this is the relocation to express waste signs. So as I stated at the beginning of the presentation, one of the goals is to try to relocate all the signs to the expressways. And where is the, bear with me. So all these sections, as you can see from the presentation, will be strike. And then the relocation signs must be built to comply with the building code too as well. That's not changing. And then if you see it here, sign may not be relocated within 500 feet of the Trinity River. So we're lowering that requirement from 2,000 to 500 feet to the Trinity River, measured from the center line. And then what we're trying to do here is that for the signs to be relocated, expressway signs may not be relocated within 500 feet of non-business or residential districts. And then signs may not be relocated within 50 feet measured from certain point of any intersection involving 2 or more arterials, an expressway frontage road, and an internal or expressway travel lanes or ramps, except as provided in section 51A 7.308, which talks about no new properties such as an electrical, mechanical, or digital may be added to the relocation sign. And I will cover this following this, because we're also increasing or removing the limit for digital signs. So I will not read this unless you want me. I'll go back. And then here is a sign structure with a digital display may not be located within 1,000 feet of another digital display on the same highway and facing the same direction of travel. And then digital display sign may be located within 300 feet of any located or residential district measure radially. Digital display signs may not be located within 500 feet of the Trinity River measure from the center line. Digital display signs may not be located within 500 feet of a lot historic district. Digital display signs may not be located within 500 feet of escarpment zone. And digital display sign support structures. The digital display sign support structures may not exceed an overall height of 50 feet or 42.5 feet above the nearest point on the nearest travel surface of the nearest expressway, whichever is higher, except that no digital display sign may be higher than the conventional sign it replaces. Trying to provide you here with the digital ratio.
Previously in that slide, we struck the places where it talked about the face rate change, where it used to be 1 per 8 seconds. We did that based on it being consistent with state regulations. So we didn't want it to be redundant in this ordinance. One of the goals was to simplify this ordinance. So we did strike that section of code. Go one more slide, Oscar. That one right there, back one. Forward one. One more. Yeah, right here, H. In order to stay consistent with state code, that's, we struck that from our ordinance.
Thank you so much for that clarification, Jason. I'll continue then, and I'll move to the removal and maintenance of certain non-conforming signs. So as stated, one of our needs is to reduce the number of existing non-conforming signs. So we have implemented these changes as staff, as a proposal, and then let us know what you think about it, which is signs erected without a permit either prior to or after the adoption of this article are illegal. Signs, if a permit was required for its erection according to the law in effect at the time of the sign was erected. Non-premise signs not current on the registration at this time this ordinance is adopted should be considered illegal. It should be unlawful to maintain any illegal signs. It is a defense to the prosecution under this subsection if the signs have been made to comply with the provisions of this article so that the permit may be issued. Then the right to maintain a non-conforming use ceases when the sign is destroyed or removed by intentional act of the owner of or his agent. And then restoration or reconstruction in violation of this paragraph immediately terminates the right to operate the non-conforming use, and the sign must be removed. This, of
Real
course,
quick, a big part of this section was added just to clarify what the original intent was. I think these are things that we've already had in place, and these are basically just spelling them out even more clearly in the ordinance.
thank you, Jason. So these are the maintenance operation includes cleaning, painting, repair or parts with like materials in a manner that does not alter the design or structure of this sign, provided that the cost of all repairs performed during any consecutive 365 days period is not more than 60% of the cost of erecting a new sign of the same type of at the same location, and replacement or parts with like materials in a manner that does not alter the basic design or structure of the sign, provided that the cost of all replaced part performed during any consecutive 360-day period is not more than 60% of the cost, erecting a new sign of the same type at the same location. And then as Jason stated, we're just clarifying these sections, and then except as provided in section 51A7.308, no new electrical, mechanical, or digital properties may be added to a non-conforming detached premise or non-premise sign. And then this is this does not include if you meet those requirements to have the static sign converted to a digital sign. And also it will not be applicable when you try to relocate a sign by giving us a treat to allow you to relocate it in a different location within the city limits. Do you have oh, and as Jason stated that during the presentation, we're still working with the legal team in reference to the fee in lieu, and try to see what kind of options you would like to go with. Do you have any questions?
One more thing, there was another section that wasn't highlighted in there under the relocations. We did write in a clause that would allow For a detached sign to be relocated to be an attached sign, this was to try and allow for development as it comes through. But this would be with an SUP. So you could potentially, if you run into a developer who wants to develop on the property, and an agreement can be reached, relocate signs onto walls. That was one of the things that was added. Oscar, if you could go to that next slide real quick. So just to kind of summarize everything, these are kind of our options at this point. Is we can continue to explore the fee in lieu, or we can take what we've got now and move forward to SSDAC, and in I guess that'd be next week. Following that, it would go to City Plan Commission and then City Council, and then based on this meeting, whatever we discuss, we can kind of go backwards and reconsider any of those items. So I guess I saw Mr. Tim Anderson had his hand up first.
It's very, very kind of you to call me Mister. I appreciate you guys' work on this. We appreciate being able to give you guys input. I'll since I'm speaking, I'll be on TV. I appreciate what you guys have done and the thought that's gone into it. There were a couple of things, and that kind of goes to what you were just saying, Jason. Are we going to be able to affect a change if you see that it is a good change and agree with it prior to SSDAC, or is this the copy that's going to them as it is right now?
So we'll decide that based on feedback from this meeting. Okay. If everybody's in agreement, let's move forward with what we got, then we'll move forward with what we got. If not, like, we need more time to explore these other options. If this is something that everybody feels is viable, which in my opinion, we probably need to look at the fee in lieu option and a program that could be supported by that. It's just, we would need more time. So I don't know how time sensitive this is for everybody, but if we need to move forward quickly, we can move forward with what we have. If not, then let's look at it a little closer and maybe some additional input into some of these other options.
Well, the two things was that I would like a little more time to parse through this thing. It got here yesterday, and I was able to take a look at it, and it's fine. We're not in a hurry. I mean, at least Clear Channel's not trying to rush this thing through. But I need some more time to get through it. But there is one concern that I suspect everybody will share with me, is that when you change the relocation section, you made no distinction between a relocation based upon a governmental taking and the general 3-to-1 that I think you're trying to implement. And even if you'll notice in the first sentence of A, you actually removed the governmental action from there and didn't show it was struck. So I'm just saying that may have just slipped out. Reason being is the idea behind those relocations from our point of view are completely different. A governmental taking is a non-voluntary relocation. We don't have a choice. And the reason that we push for relocation so hard on a one-to-one basis is that what we're trying to do is take a sign and the revenue that it generates, and we're trying to replicate it by just taking that sign and moving it to a different position. Sometimes we can replicate the revenue, a lot of times we can't. Okay, that's different from the 3-to-1, which is, to me, is a voluntary, where we can take a pencil, figure out if this makes sense for us, and then come to you and say, hey, here's what we have. But on the, like I said, on the governmental taking, I think it's critical that stays 1-to-1, and we still do that the way we've been doing it for however long it has been, because that's vital. I mean, that is literally drawing blood from us if that's not in there.
I absolutely understand that. I think where we pulled a lot of this from was from Fort Worth, and the way they do theirs. From my understanding, they did not have any government entity clause like that within their ordinance. And if I missed on that, then we missed on that. But that was our understanding of what they had, is regardless of whether a government entity comes in and takes it, or if it's voluntary, it's a trade-in regardless.
Well, I mean, I'm not speaking for everybody else, but I would I'll take the government relocation 1-to-1 all day long over the 3-to-1. No problem. I wouldn't even think twice about it because like I said, the Fort Worth has never had a governmental relocation. This is the first one, and these 3-to-1s, I've seen them occasionally, but they do have some kind of a limited use. They put us in the quandary of even if we have a governmental taking, now we're going to have to go, find out whether we can make up for these 3 structures of revenue that we're being also forced to give up in order to move something, like I said, that is taking governmental action. For me, governmental action is the primary goal. It's almost a non-starter for me at this point, as opposed to 3-for-1s are great. I think the incentive is great, and I think the idea is great. But I really wish you guys would put back in the governmental action 1-to-1.
If the fee in lieu was back in there, would that still be an issue?
I don't see those as combined, since you're telling us on the relocations that we cannot make those digitals, but the fee in lieu was only applicable to digitals, right? Or am I missing something?
So ideally, if we were to do the fee in lieu, it would be on everything. So basically, like, since it's 3-to-1 now on a relocation, if you wanted to relocate and update to digital, then it'd be 6-to-1 would be the idea. And
Right,
if we had a fee in lieu in there, you could pay whatever the fee would be to relocate and upgrade whenever you needed to. But they would be 3-to-1 per each, and then 6-to-1 total.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the numbers guy for this corporation, but a 6-to-1 to get something relocated into digital, probably not going to happen. That's so far outside anything we deal with. Maybe 1 or 2. I'm not going to sit here, like I said, I'm not going to speak for other people. But in all the years, I've been doing this, I've never seen one crafted like that. But again, getting back to my initial point, it's the taking aspect that triggers the relocation, not a voluntarily being, not us choosing to do so. And I think that brings it into a different light than even the fee in lieu. The concept since 1970 something with TxDOT has been, you take your signs that you get taken and you move it to a different location as is, like it is. No improvements, no nothing. It's working. It keeps us all out of court. I'm telling you, it does. I would chuck everything to be sure that I had that 1-to-1 on the government takings. That's how important it is. I guess I'm saying.
When we drafted this, we did take Fort Worth into consideration, because they do for government takes, they do a 4-to-1 trade-in. And we took that into consideration, as well as the fact that in the city of Dallas, the ultimate goal is to get rid of non-premise signs. That is the ultimate goal, because they are all non-conforming. And
well, they're non-conforming because they're labeled non-conforming.
Well,
let's not go down that road.
But the ultimate goal in the city of Dallas is to get rid of them.
Okay, I've got you quoted. I get you. I hear you.
And that is the point of the 3-to-1. That was the point of the 3-to-1 in the Billboard Ordinance originally.
Right. And your point is that the point that you're making actually is there is very little organic reduction over the years without some kind of incentive. That is absolutely true. Most cities lose maybe 3 to 4 billboards in Texas a year through just normal attrition, development, whatever. The only time that serious reductions have occurred, and this is San Antonio, we're talking to Houston right now. We've done, other cities, El Paso. The meaningful reductions have come with the carrot approach. You give somebody a reason to take down billboards, and they do so if we have a good reason. There's no good reason under an involuntary removal. You're just tacking stuff on. You're just tacking expense and taking revenue away that is going to inhibit the relocation of itself. The 3-to-1 is actually going to hurt, because we'll just take the one down that we have to take down. I guess have to get paid and go. Not you guys. It'll be TxDOT. Go to court and okay, it happens. It happens. We'll let lawyers do that. but it's not effective. It doesn't work without incentive, and a 6-to-1 digital expressway it's just not, it just doesn't pencil. I've been doing this a long time. 6-to-1 doesn't work. You can write, I mean, obviously do what you want to do, but I just don't think you're going to get any, I think you'll look at this 5 years later and go, well, we didn't get much out of it. Whereas we're trying to work with you and get these things relocated. And like I said, I like your idea of 3-to-1 and you can move them on the expressway. That's an incentive. I think that's a great idea, but the governmental entity, it's not working. At least for me.
Thank you so much. I think Jeff, you had your hand up next. Jeff Shelton.
Jeff with Lamar, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Great. I do want to echo Tim's sentiment regarding needing a little more time to digest it, as well as the one-to-one on government takings. One other thing that jumped out at me, if you're trying to be consistent with TxDOT, is the sign height of 50. Current TxDOT regs is 60. And so we may want to take a look at that. I also just want to touch on the exchange ratio. Tim's exactly right. 6-to-1 doesn't pencil. And so if you guys roll with that, you're probably not going to get much takedowns.
To clarify on that, like it would be 6-to-1 if you were relocating to an expressway and upgrading the digital. To do one or the
Correct.
other, it's strictly 3-to-1.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, the goal here, I think, from Lamar's standpoint, was having the ability to get some digital up. And if we've got to remove 6 in order to do that, we just won't do it. Just the revenue doesn't pencil for us. 3-to-1 makes sense. 6-to-1 does not make sense. We just don't have the inventory, and so we would never do it. We would never do it.
So basically, to sum that up, if you were to move one to an expressway and upgrade that static board to a digital, you don't have the inventory to trade in 6-to-1 in order to do that. Whereas if you had one on an expressway already, to upgrade it to a digital would only be 3-to-1. You feel you have the inventory for the 3-to-1, but not for the 6-to-1. So I guess if you could clarify, or are you saying that in order to relocate a board from a non-expressway to an expressway and upgrade it to a digital, you think a 3-to-1 would be fair on that?
Yeah, I mean, so we don't have, and again, I need more time. This hit my desk this morning. But we don't have a ton of inventory that's not on expressways currently. And so maybe the 6-to-1 doesn't really apply to us anyway. If we could find 6 that aren't on expressway, we still probably wouldn't do it. 6 just doesn't, it's just too much inventory. Potentially the 3-to-1 on expressway, potentially yes, and that is more reasonable. But again, I also would like more time to review this in detail.
Understood. Thank you.
That's all I've got. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Chris Ashley.
Hey, y'all. Chris out front. Thank you again for putting this together. Really appreciate the time that you put into it. And I think to that point, we all want this to work and make your efforts worthwhile. And to echo Tim and Jeff, I totally agree. The ratio is just not there. And I heard Scott say, the goal is to have all the non-premise signs down in the city of Dallas, and I understand that's the goal, but the cities that have been successful in reducing inventory have offered an incentive for the industry to do so. And I think that was sort of our hope here would be, that we could come to a reasonable trade-in ratio, or more importantly to us is the fee in lieu, which seems like a really big win-win for the city and the industry as a revenue generation for y'all. and the ability for us to not have to take down signs that, quite frankly, just like Jeff at Lamar, we don't have. So if the incentive is to get signs taken down and reduce the total amount of inventory in the city, best way to do that is to offer us that incentive. And I think 6-to-1 is not it. It wouldn't pencil out. I totally agree with Clear Channel that the relocation is extremely important to us. It's something that we utilize quite often, and it avoids, litigation. It avoids just compensation. And I think it's a win-win for everybody. So, again, echo everyone's sentiments. We need more time. It sounds like the industry is all on the same page. And I get it. We're not going to get everything we want, but at the same time, I think there is a compromise here that if we're all willing to work together, we can figure something out that's a win for everybody, including the city. So, I'd hope that y'all would consider that feedback. And, we really like the fee in lieu model. It seems to work. In addition to all the other benefits that we feel digitals can offer as far as public service and things like that, emergency alerts. So that's kind of our feedback, unless anybody else without print has anything more. But again, I appreciate the time, and I know how much effort and time y'all put into drafting this. And, I think that there's just some changes that if we could make, this would really be a true mutual benefit to everybody.
Mr. Ashley, this asker, what will be a proposal that you think will work for the industry?
For us, we're more interested in the fee in lieu, to be candid, and I think that's pretty.
Do you know of any other cities who have done anything like this for a sign program? I think that was one that we were looking for some kind of example before we just, really shake the box and tear it open to really figure out.
Yeah, we have examples under Chapter 380 of the Texas codes that would allow for, this kind of, maybe a one-off.
No, anybody that's done a program that this money feeds into, that's what we're looking for is what kind of program. I mean, it couldn't go towards highway beautification, I don't think. I think it has to be something that is specifically supported by this program and in either helping to eliminate signs or helping to actually move this program forward in some way.
Sure. There's models of all types,
thing,
and I'll collect them and send them to y'all. There's models of, a hybrid where you could do a reduced trade-in of number of signs in exchange.
No, I'm looking for, no. I agree on that. Like we were originally looking at, yes, you could do a hybrid, but it's actually programs that this money goes into, just like parkland dedication. So instead of dedicating parkland, when a development's done, they pay into a fee, which goes back to, the money goes into parks and revitalizing parks and acquiring land to have more parks. So that's kind of what I'm looking for is actually how we can use this money in some sort of program to support the city. Not necessarily the practicalities and how to collect it or how to apply it. It's an actual program on how this is used. I think the other thing would be along Oscar's question is what do you think would be a fair trade? I mean,
I think 3-to-1
would strictly be if you relocated the sign somewhere else and upgraded it to digital all at the same time. Otherwise, it's just 3-to-1 either way. So if you decided to move it 3-to-1, if you decided to upgrade it 3-to-1. So that would be kind of that, just to make sure we're all on the same page. But what would you feel would be fair?
Let me mull that over. I mean, we just have different inventory than Lamar and Clear Channel in the city. So,
Sure.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it, but there's all kinds of different ways to do it. But for us, strictly in our recommendation, it may be a little different, but we'll mull it over and let you know.
All right, Mr. Rick Jensen.
Yeah, this is Rick with Lamar Advertising. I just want to reiterate the importance of the fee versus 3-to-1. The inventory in Dallas is heavily skewed to one company. So if it stayed 3-to-1 without a fee, it would heavily favor. And to make it fair for all the smaller ones, there's other companies in Dallas besides the big three on here, and we all need that fee to make this plausible.
I hear you. And again, right now, our biggest obstacle, and I agree with you 100% on the fairness of it, is just figuring out a program for that. And if we can figure out a good program and get that up and running, I think that would be a good thought. One of the ones we looked at as far as Chicago and the way we understand it, they're calling theirs city, I want to say they're city digital signs, city something. But it appears that the city owns signs and advertises off of those signs. Now, I'm not saying that that would be a good option for us, but that could be a potential program. I don't see it working in Dallas, but it does give an example of some sort of program that fee in lieu would go to feed. And that's really what we're after. So any assistance you could give us on that would definitely help, or any ideas. But we certainly hear you that the fee in lieu is something that would benefit the city and benefit the industry as well. Mr. Ralston.
Jason, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, yeah, Ben Ralston, Ralston Outdoor. I'm kind of will echo what Rick said. We need to have some kind of fee on this. The trade-in deal will not work for our company. And back in 2012, 2011, whenever we last did this, we pretty much traded in the kind of the junky signs that we had. And right now, all of our signs that we have are income producing signs. Would be difficult to kind of go that route. So I would encourage you guys to consider a fee-based option as well.
Sure. Thank you. One thing we were looking for, and that I don't know if anybody picked up on this, but just declaring signs that have not been previously registered, or signs that did not have permits as non-premise signage, is looking to get rid of those. And if we did do a trade-in, allowing those as trade-in, or just figuring out a way to really crack down on that, I think that would help, in my opinion, your industry as well, as kind of accomplish some of the goals that this ordinance was originally put in place for and is set out to do. Yeah, I don't know if it could go to fund enforcement efforts, but that was something else that we kind of kicked around as a fee in lieu option that this could fund, or just kind of feeling that out. But I don't know if there's any thoughts on that, or anybody had any opinions on that. But that was another thing that we put in there that I hadn't heard comments on. I think we hear you loud and clear on the fee in lieu, and the option for government mandated relocations.
Jason, I'll have to work with the local team on that. I'm not sure how big of an issue that would be for us. If the signs are already registered, I'm not aware, so I'll have to check with them. But I mean, it's, we'll let you know.
Sure. I know that was something that some of the council members did express whenever this was originally authorized, this hearing.
Jason, I think from Clear Channel's point of view, I think I recall we have a couple of a few signs that we and you are squabbling over. So yeah, we need to look at that too, so to see what that status is, if you don't mind. Just like Chris, let me check into that and we'll get back to you.
Absolutely. Jeff, did you have anything else you needed? I see your hand still up.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know I'll search around and try to find you some language for some fee in lieu from some other cities that may have it. We may have some that can help.
Okay. I appreciate that. I don't know if anybody else has any questions or any comments. We do have Oscar Aguilera, who presented He's a contact for this, as well as Scott Roper. And of course, you can always reach out to me. As far as a good time to reconvene, yeah, I think after the first of the year would probably be best, unless anybody else has any other ideas. All right, so we're gonna get with our legal on the fee and lieu options, and we'll continue to explore some of the ratios. I know we never did get a real good answer on what if we did go a trade-in would be considered fair. If we had the fee and lieu, would the 3-to-1 on both be more palatable?
Possibly, just because, like I said, it's all in, the devil's in the details. And how, if there's some ideas, we'd be happy to think about them. And I think Chris mentioned the local government code already as an option, but that's something we'd be happy to consider once we get a little further down on the details.
Okay. All right. So we'll shoot for another meeting, probably mid to late January, if that works for everybody.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good.
Thanks. Great.
All right. Thank you. And if there's nothing else, it is.
I just have I say if you guys can think of any proposal that will benefit the industry and everybody, please don't hesitate to send it to me, or any suggestions that can help us generate a better code.
All right, and it is 11:52 on December 2nd, and we will call the meeting. Thank you, everyone.